Yeah, I try not to think that far ahead. My mind was just on trying to play, and you can't let that creep into your head. I think, when you're trying to overcome something, or, you have, something that's challenging, I think the worst thing you can do is think about worst case scenarios. So, yeah, I was just trying to be positive and try to focus on playing and find a way to overcome that. And unfortunately it didn't happen, but yeah, it's still a long ways away, but that wasn't really something I tried to think about too much.
Sidney Crosby has broken his silence on his Olympic injury. He spoke after returning from the Winter Games. He revealed he was much closer to playing in the gold medal game than many believed. The final decision came late. Medical staff ruled he could not perform at the level required.
Cool. How close were you really to playing in the gold medal game?
Close. Yeah, a lot closer than I thought. A day or two after, I thought that, it might be, yeah, I didn't think it was necessarily going to be an option. So the fact that I even had a chance or was, close to it, yeah, the staff there was unbelievable. Dr. V here was really helpful too in trying to go through that whole process. But unfortunately, it just, it wasn't something I could do.
How much of an impact did the Penguin season have on you making that decision to play or not?
I'll be honest with you, all I cared about was playing that game and focusing on that. That's not any disrespect to our team or what I feel about this season or anything like that. We all put a lot of work in to try to be as successful as possible here, but given the opportunity to play, in the Olympics and in that game, I think, trying to play was all my focus was on, and obviously with talking to doctors and everybody, they were comfortable with, with me, just being honest as far as what I felt and what I could do and couldn't do, and like I said, ultimately it came down to not being able to do it.
Crosby confirmed he was much closer to playing in the gold medal game than many believed. He explained that he worked toward returning and tested his condition before the final decision was made. He said he and the medical staff determined he could not perform at the level required. The choice was based on performance readiness, and he did not reveal the specific injury.
I mean, I'm not gonna. It's the Olympics, and it's an amazing experience just as an athlete, not just a hockey player. I think if you want to look at it just from the hockey's perspective, I think it's incredible. Just the product on the ice. I think the way that fans see the games and just how competitive it is and how it brings everyone together. I think it's pretty amazing. Obviously, injuries are part of the game. They come with that, especially at that level with the speed and the intensity and physicality of the games. But yeah, I think it's great that guys have the opportunity to go and.
The injury occurred during Olympic play. Crosby addressed the hit from Radko Gudas that led to the issue. He said he holds no ill will toward Gudas and described the contact as part of hockey and simply a defenseman playing hard. When asked to describe the injury, he declined to provide details and kept the focus on recovery and evaluation. During the media session, Crosby described the Olympic experience as awesome and special. He spoke about representing Canada men's national ice hockey team and participating in the broader Olympic environment. He mentioned watching other sports, including short track speed skating. His comments confirmed he remained engaged in the games even while managing the injury. The timeline surrounding the gold medal game became clearer through his remarks. Crosby indicated that the possibility of playing remained open until close to puck drop, and he said he was pushing to be available. Medical staff assessed whether he could execute at full competitive level, and the conclusion was that he could not meet that standard at that time. Crosby addressed the broader question of Olympic risk and acknowledged that injury is part of hockey. He stated that the Olympics serve as a global showcase for the sport and explained that the tournament brings people together while expanding exposure beyond the NHL schedule. His comments reflected support for participation despite physical risk. Following the Olympic break, Crosby returned to Pittsburgh and shifted attention to the NHL season with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He expressed confidence in the Penguins' ability to compete during his absence and referenced the team next man up mentality. He cited collective play and contributions throughout the season as factors supporting stability. The Penguins are in the playoff race. Crosby stated that his focus is now on recovery and preparation for the Stanley Cup playoffs. He did not provide a specific timeline for full return and emphasized regaining health to perform effectively when postseason play begins. His remarks also included discussion of the Little Penguins program. Crosby said he takes pride in the initiative and referenced high registration numbers and participation among young players. The program introduces children to hockey at the entry level, and he described it as rewarding to see growth in youth involvement. Crosby confirmation that he nearly played in the gold medal game altered public understanding of the injury severity and established that he progressed further than initially thought. However, the final decision prioritized performance capability, and he stated clearly that he could not play at the necessary level. Throughout the session, Crosby maintained a measured tone and repeated that he was close to returning. He reiterated that he holds no resentment toward Gudas and declined to provide medical specifics. He consistently framed the decision as collaborative with the medical staff. The injury force adjustments within Team Canada lineup during the Olympic final and Crosby absence affected roster deployment. His comments clarified that the determination to sit out was made after evaluation, not immediately after the injury occurred. As NHL play resumes, attention centers on Pittsburgh lineup structure. Crosby remains the team captain and primary center, and his absence requires depth contributions across forward lines. His statement about the next man up approach indicates reliance on internal options rather than external additions. Crosby's Olympic appearance added another chapter to his international career. Although he did not play in the gold medal game, he participated earlier in the tournament. His return to the NHL places emphasis on postseason readiness rather than short-term regular season milestones. He stated that his priority is to recover fully and referenced preparation for the Stanley Cup playoffs as the objective. The medical staff continues monitoring his progress, and no additional details about the injury have been disclosed publicly. His acknowledgement that he was much closer to playing provides context to the final stages before the gold medal game and confirms that the decision window extended late. It also confirms that pain tolerance alone was not sufficient. Crosby comments about Olympic value reflect long-standing support for international competition. He noted that the games create exposure for hockey worldwide and referenced the atmosphere and cross-sport interaction as part of the appeal. His remarks did not indicate regret about participation. The Penguins' position in the standings increases the importance of his recovery timeline, and Crosby did not assign dates while keeping the focus on health and performance readiness. He stated that he wants to be prepared for playoff competition. His discussion of the Little Penguins program connected professional responsibility with community outreach, and high enrollment numbers indicate strong youth interest. Crosby highlighted the impact of introducing children to hockey at a foundational level. The media session resolved speculation about his availability for the Olympic final and confirmed proximity to participation along with a medical performance assessment. It confirmed absence of animosity toward the opposing player involved in the hit. Crosby return to Pittsburgh marks the transition from international play back to NHL competition. His recovery continues, and his objective remains postseason readiness. His statements provided clarity without disclosing medical specifics. He described the Olympic experience as awesome and special. He confirmed he was much closer to playing in the gold medal game. He stated that he holds no ill will toward Radko Gudas. He emphasized the Penguins' next man up mentality. He identified the Stanley Cup playoffs as the focus moving forward. The timeline is now defined. The injury occurred during Olympic competition, and evaluation continued through the gold medal game. The decision was made based on performance level, and recovery is ongoing. The NHL season resumes, with Pittsburgh preparing for the playoff stretch.
But Jack Hughes makes a really good, strong play inside the blue line. Then Werenski, he recognizes he's up against McKinnon, and then all of a sudden, here comes Jack Hughes flying in, and he finishes it off. And understandably, you got Jack Hughes, who drew the 4-minute penalty, took a 2-minute penalty, and then he ends up being the hero with the...
History flipped in one sudden burst of overtime. One shot, one rebound, one American forward standing alone in front of the net. Jack Hughes fired the puck past Canada's goalie and ended a 46-year Olympic gold drought for the United States. The arena exploded, and the broadcast numbers shattered records. But what happened before that shot is what makes this story even bigger.
Yeah, Canada comes back. Yeah. They tie it in the second period, and then in overtime, it's Jack Hughes for the USA. Unbelievable.
It's so fitting that the game went to overtime, because both of these teams, the favorites coming into the tournament, were pushed to overtime earlier in the week in the quarters. So, I mean, I was hoping it would go to overtime for extra.
Jack Hughes scored the overtime winning goal for Team USA in the Olympic gold medal game against Canada. The goal ended the game instantly under sudden death rules. Once the puck crossed the goal line, the contest was over. The United States won its first Olympic men's hockey gold medal since 1980. The game was tied at the end of regulation. Both teams battled through 3 intense periods. Canada and the United States matched each other, shift for shift. Shots were exchanged and chances were limited while the goaltenders held their ground. When the third period ended without a winner, the gold medal moved into overtime. Olympic overtime in medal games follows a sudden death format. That means the first goal decides everything. There is no shootout and there is no second chance. When overtime began, every possession carried weight and every mistake could end the tournament. The play developed quickly in the offensive zone. Team USA controlled the puck and forced Canada's defense to shift toward the boards. A pass moved toward the middle of the ice and Jack Hughes positioned himself near the slot. He received the puck and released a quick shot from close range. The puck beat the Canadian goaltender and entered the net. Officials signaled a good goal and the horn sounded as players rushed from the bench. The overtime goal officially ended the game. That single shot placed Hughes into US Olympic history. The last time the United States won gold in men's hockey was during the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid. That team defeated Finland in the final game after the famous Miracle on Ice semifinal win over the Soviet Union. Since then, the United States had not claimed Olympic gold in men's hockey. The 2026 victory ended that 46-year gap. Official records now list Team USA as Olympic champions, with Hughes credited for the game-winning goal in overtime. The moment reached millions beyond the arena. According to reports, the broadcast of the gold medal game averaged approximately 26 million live viewers across NBC and Peacock. That made it one of the most watched hockey games in recent US television history. Viewership peaked during overtime as fans waited for the deciding goal. Hughes' goal came during that peak window, which amplified the impact of the moment across television and streaming platforms nationwide. When the puck crossed the line, the scoreboard changed instantly. Canada received silver and the United States secured gold. The medal ceremony followed later with players receiving their gold medals on the ice. The final scoring summary officially lists the game as tied at the end of regulation before the overtime entry. Hughes is recorded as scoring the gold medal winning goal in sudden death, and that entry now stands permanently in Olympic records. Medal games are single elimination and there are no replayed finals. Hughes' role throughout the tournament added context to that moment. He was one of Team USA's key offensive players during Olympic competition, and in the final, he logged major ice time before delivering the decisive goal. The scoring play marked his most important contribution of the tournament. After the game, Hughes addressed the media and spoke about the importance of representing the United States on that stage. He acknowledged the rivalry with Canada and the meaning of winning a gold medal while focusing on the team effort and the scale of the moment. The visual images from the ice became defining snapshots of the tournament. Photographs showed Hughes raising his stick as teammates surrounded him while gloves and sticks were thrown into the air. The red goal light stayed on behind the net as officials confirmed the score, and that frame circulated widely across sports coverage. The broadcast data reflected the scale of interest. Reports show that the game averaged around 26 million viewers across NBC and Peacock platforms, and overtime drove a spike in audience numbers. Sudden death structure increases tension because the next goal ends the game instantly, and Hughes scored during that window of peak viewership. The historical comparison to 1980 followed immediately. The United States had not won Olympic gold in men's hockey since defeating Finland in Lake Placid, and that 1980 team remains one of the most documented squads in US sports history. The 2026 roster now joins it in the record books as Olympic champion. The medal standings shifted accordingly. The United States received gold and Canada was awarded silver. The official statistics list Hughes with the championship winning goal against Canada in overtime, and that stat will remain part of international competition archive. Under Olympic rules, the puck crossing the line in overtime is final, and officials do not restart play after a confirmed sudden death goal. The decision is immediate, and the tournament ends on that scoring play. Jack Hughes delivered the final shot of the Olympic men's hockey tournament. The puck crossed the goal line and the scoreboard changed. The United States ended a 46-year wait for gold with that single overtime goal. The celebration was loud. The images of Jack Hughes without his front teeth spread across the world within minutes, and less than 24 hours after overtime in Canada, Hughes delivered an update that shifted the focus away from the medal onto his condition. And that update carried consequences beyond the Olympic stage. Jack Hughes scored the overtime winner against Canada in the Olympic men's hockey final, and the goal secured the United States' first Olympic gold medal in men's hockey since 1980. The game ended in sudden death, and the final score was 2-1. One shot decided the championship as Hughes received the puck, released a quick shot, and beat the Canadian goaltender, and officials confirmed the goal immediately while Team USA left the bench in celebration. The victory ended a 46-year gold medal drought for US men's hockey, and the last Olympic gold came in 1980 at Lake Placid. That team defeated the Soviet Union before winning gold, and this time, National Hockey League players led the roster, and Hughes' overtime goal placed him at the center of that historic moment. But the game carried another turning point earlier in regulation when Hughes lost multiple teeth after contact near the net. Broadcast footage showed visible damage and blood appeared on the ice as he skated to the bench for treatment, and medical staff evaluated him before he later returned to the game. There was no report of a concussion, and the injury involved dental trauma. Images of Hughes smiling without several front teeth spread across media platforms within minutes, and the moment became part of the Olympic coverage. Despite the injury, he continued to take shifts, and he did not leave the game permanently, and his return set up the final sequence in overtime. After the game, Hughes addressed reporters, and according to coverage from Sports Illustrated, he confirmed the damage and said, "I will get them fixed." That short statement carried weight because it confirmed that dental repair would be required, and it ended speculation about whether the injury was minor, since it was not temporary and it required follow-up treatment. Olympics.com reported that Hughes laughed off missing teeth after scoring the golden goal, and the article described him smiling during celebrations despite the visible loss of teeth. The report focused on the sequence from injury during regulation to return to play, and then the overtime winner, and that timeline became central to the story. A New Jersey oral surgeon later spoke to NJ Monthly about dental trauma in hockey, and the surgeon explained that injuries involving lost teeth often require procedures such as implants or reconstructive work. While the surgeon did not treat Hughes directly, the explanation outlined the seriousness of such damage, and dental replacement is not immediate because it involves planning and medical care. The celebration on the ice continued long after the overtime goal, as Hughes skated with teammates, held the American flag, and wore the gold medal during the ceremony, while cameras continued to capture his missing teeth. The images symbolize both victory and injury, but the story did not end with the medal presentation. The focus shifted quickly after the medal ceremony, and attention moved from the overtime replay to Hughes' condition as his statement, "I will get them fixed," confirmed that dental procedures were ahead. That meant medical appointments and recovery steps, and it also meant questions about timing as the National Hockey League season prepares to resume. Hughes plays for the New Jersey Devils in the National Hockey League, and the Olympic tournament paused the NHL regular season while players are expected to return to their teams after international competition ends. Any confirmed injury draws attention, especially when it involves a top scorer, and dental trauma does not always prevent play, but treatment can require multiple visits. Sports Illustrated reported that Hughes shared a broken teeth update following the gold medal win, and he acknowledged the damage publicly, while the outlet confirmed he would undergo dental repair. No official timeline was provided in that report, and there was no announcement of missed games at that time, and the confirmed fact remained the need for corrective work. Newsweek also reported on Hughes' media appearance after the victory, and during one exchange, he shut down an awkward question from a reporter, and the interaction was brief. It redirected attention to hockey matters, and the report described the moment as firm and controlled, while that exchange circulated across social media and became part of the wider coverage around him. The New York Post published coverage describing Hughes as having cemented his place as an Olympic and American hero, and the article connected the overtime goal to the long gap since 1980. The framing focused on history and national impact, and it emphasized that the United States had waited decades for this result, and the goal ended that drought and sudden death against Canada. The rivalry between the United States and Canada in hockey carries deep history, and Olympic matchups between the two nations often draw large audiences. An overtime final increased the pressure because one mistake could decide everything, and Hughes' shot ended the contest instantly, and that sequence elevated his profile beyond the National Hockey League season. Olympics.com documented that Hughes returned to play after losing his teeth and later scored the golden goal, and the report emphasized his ability to continue competing after visible injury. It detailed the progression from regulation damage to overtime victory, and that order of events defined the headline coverage. Medical experts speaking to NJ Monthly explained that dental injuries in hockey can involve fractures, displacement, or full loss of teeth, and treatment may include implants or reconstructive procedures. The recovery process depends on severity, and public reporting has not stated the exact number of teeth lost, while Hughes confirmed only that repairs are required. As Team USA celebrated its first men's Olympic hockey gold medal in 46 years, Hughes stood at the center of every frame, with the medal hanging around his neck and the missing teeth visible in every photograph. The overtime goal secured his place in the record books, and the confirmed dental repair added the next chapter to monitor as professional play resumes.
The wait is over. It's been a really long time. We need to get best on best back at those big games where it's country against country and it becomes more than hockey.
Opening night of the Four Nations face-off.
Well, for me, it's Celebrini, McDavid, Wilson. I love that. I think that's a really good line. I saw how they come together there. And the reason McDavid, who's going to have the biggest spotlight on him, he's going to shoulder a lot of the responsibility for this team, as he should, and he's ready to do. But Tommy Wilson on that right side of him.
Connor McDavid sent a powerful message to Team USA, and it was not delivered in a press conference. It came through his performance on Olympic ice. Every shift, the 2026 Winter Olympics marked the return of NHL players to Olympic competition for the first time since 2014. Connor McDavid entered the tournament as an alternate captain for Team Canada, and this is his first appearance at the Olympic Games. Canada opened the men's tournament with dominant results in group play. In the preliminary round, Canada defeated France 10-2. The team controlled possession and built a multi-goal lead early. After that game, McDavid stated, "We did what we came to do." The result gave Canada early momentum and established one of the highest single-game goal totals in the tournament. Canada followed with a 5-1 win over Switzerland. In that game, McDavid scored his first Olympic goal on the power play and added assists. His production placed him among the tournament's early scoring leaders. Through 2 games, he recorded 6 total points. Canada closed preliminary play with a 5-0 victory over the Czech Republic. The team finished the group stage undefeated and secured the top overall seed entering the knockout round. Canada's goal differential ranked ahead of the United States, which also advanced with a strong record. McDavid's message to Team USA has not been verbal. It has been statistical. Through multiple Olympic games, he accumulated 9 total points across goals and assists that placed him at or near the top of the scoring leaderboard among all players in the men's tournament. His power play involvement has been consistent against Switzerland. His goal came with the man advantage. His assists created scoring sequences that expanded Canada's lead. At even strength, he has generated offense through speed and puck control. Canada's roster depth reinforces that message. Have all contributed in scoring roles. Marner scored the overtime winner in the quarterfinal round, sending Canada to the semifinal. That goal came 122 into overtime. During the quarterfinal, captain Sidney Crosby suffered a lower body injury and left the game. Head coach John Cooper confirmed Crosby had not been ruled out for the remainder of the tournament and would be evaluated. With Crosby's status uncertain, alternate captains, including McDavid, carried greater responsibility. Canada's defensive structure has also supported its offensive output. The semifinal stage places Canada 1 win away from the gold medal game. The Olympic format is single elimination at this point. A victory advances a team to play for gold, and a loss ends that path. The Canada-USA rivalry adds context to this tournament. The 2 nations have met in multiple Olympic and international championship games. A gold medal matchup would place McDavid against American NHL stars under Olympic stakes. Finland head coach Antti Pennanen said there were no lengths they would not consider with a gold medal opportunity at stake. The remark highlighted how opponents are preparing specifically for Canada's offensive threats. McDavid's threat is defined by measurable production. His goal contributions account for a significant percentage of Canada's scoring through the first rounds. His assist totals reflect playmaking involvement on multiple lines. Canada's special teams rank among the strongest in the tournament. McDavid's Olympic debut has been marked by high-impact shifts and consistent scoring. His presence on the top line and first power play unit demonstrates the coaching staff's reliance on his production. The message sent to Team USA is not spoken. It is reflected in standings, goal totals, and scoring charts. Canada enters the final stage of the tournament as the top-seeded team with one of the highest goal outputs in the competition. The Olympic schedule concludes on February 22 with the gold medal game. Canada's path remains active and the United States' path remains active. Statistical leaders, including Connor McDavid, now shape the final outcome through performance rather than words.
We're with Bruce Boudreau and Frankie Corrado. Guys, Mitch Marner with another signature moment for Team Canada. Bruce, just how wild was that finish?
I'll tell you what, these are the kind of games where your heart can't take it. Mm-hmm. You're cheering for a team so much, and it's going back and forth. And when Mitch Marner made the play, it's so totally Mitch. It doesn't look like anything's going on. Then all of a sudden, a deke here, a move there, top right corner, and it was a great goal. We've seen it before. We've seen it in overtime in the past with Mitch Marner, but it sure you could feel Canada lifting up when that happened. So it was a great relief.
The entire country.
Yeah.
Sudden silence turned into instant celebration. Mitch Marner stepped into open ice and ended Canada's Olympic quarterfinal without warning. One shot decided everything. The threat of elimination disappeared in a moment. The goal sent Canada forward and shifted shifted the pressure across the tournament. But that single play carried more meaning than just a win.
Well, and think about it. Canada needs someone to step up. Sidney Crosby wasn't in the game anymore. Celebrini and McDavid, they were unbelievable. McKinnon felt like he was going, but you needed someone else. And now, can I say that's big game Mitch Marner, the guy who has faced so much scrutiny throughout the course of his career for what he hasn't done in the playoffs as a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and now on the international stage delivering. Overtime winner at the Four Nations.
Mitch Marner delivered the decisive goal in overtime to push Canada past Czechia in the Olympic quarterfinal. The game had reached sudden death play after both teams remained locked at the end of regulation. With the season on the line and no room for error, Marner finished the contest during the opening stretch of overtime. The overtime format reduced the number of players on the ice. That created wider lanes and quicker rushes. Marner used that space to move into scoring position. Once he released the shot, the puck crossed the line and officials confirmed the goal. The contest ended immediately under sudden death rules. The win advanced Canada into the semifinal round. A loss would have ended its medal pursuit. Instead, the team moved forward in the bracket. The result shifted preparation toward the next opponent and kept Canada in position to compete for gold. Reports from ESPN confirmed that the goal came early in overtime and officially sealed the victory. Reuters described the outcome as Canada surviving a tense quarterfinal to reach the semifinal. The official scoring summary listed Marner as the player who ended the game. The matchup had remained tight throughout regulation. Neither side created a large separation on the scoreboard. Canada had to respond during key stretches to avoid elimination. The tie forced overtime and set up the decisive sequence. The timing of the goal also placed Marner into Olympic history discussion. Newsweek reported that his overtime winner marked the fastest overtime goal in Olympic hockey during the NHL participation era. That record became part of the official tournament data after the game concluded. Earlier in the same quarterfinal, Canada faced another challenge when captain Sidney Crosby left with a lower body injury. His departure required changes in forward lines and special teams units. Marner remained active in the offensive rotation as overtime began. NBC Olympics coverage noted that Canada escaped a difficult contest and confirmed that Marner's strike secured the semifinal berth. The goal prevented what would have been an early exit for one of the tournament favorites. The official result moved Canada into a semi-final meeting with Finland. Preparation time remained short between games. The overtime finish added physical strain to both teams, but Canada advanced while Czechia's tournament ended. Marner's role in the elimination round became the defining storyline of the night. The official box score recorded his goal as the final action of the game. With that play, Canada's Olympic campaign continued and the bracket shifted accordingly. The impact of Marner's goal extended beyond the final whistle. The quarterfinal carried elimination stakes, and the overtime format meant that one play would decide everything. When Marner scored, Canada's path in the tournament changed immediately. The semi-final opponent was Finland. The turnaround between games remained short under the Olympic schedule. Teams must prepare quickly following overtime contests. Canada advanced, but the workload from extended play remained part of the physical demand. Another factor shaped the context of the win. Earlier in the game, captain Sidney Crosby exited with a lower body injury and did not return. His absence required line changes before overtime began. Despite that adjustment, Canada maintained its offensive pressure. Marner stayed in the forward rotation and became the player who finished the contest. Newsweek reported that the timing of the overtime winner set a record in Olympic hockey during the NHL participation era. The official statistic attached Marner's name to that mark. That detail became part of tournament history and remained documented in Olympic records. NBC Olympics coverage described the victory as Canada surviving a close contest. The report confirmed that the decisive play came in overtime and immediately ended the match. The official scoring sheet listed Marner as the game-winning scorer, and the result placed Canada among the final four teams. The bracket shifted once the goal was recorded. Czechia's campaign concluded with the overtime loss. Canada continued forward with a semi-final berth secured. There was no shootout. There was no extended delay. The sudden death format meant that one successful attempt settled the outcome. Marner's overtime goal stands in the official record as the play that advanced Canada beyond the quarterfinal stage. The tournament structure moved ahead, and Canada remained in contention for a medal.
With Frankie Corrado. Frankie, Brad Marchand watched Canada's last 2 games from up in the seats due to injury, but John Cooper said he'll be back in the lineup for the quarterfinals.
Cleared. Confirmed. Back in the lineup. Brad Marchand is officially returning to Team Canada just as the Olympic knockout stage begins. After missing 2 straight games, his sudden clearance has changed the quarterfinal picture. Coaches stayed quiet. Practices continued behind closed